right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jason Lawyer with New Star. Before I start, I just want to quickly recognize our hosts. Thank you, Mark Monitor, for putting on a great event so far. And I just got to say I'm a huge fan of college football, and some of you may know, but this field over the last 10 years has become hallowed ground in kind of the history of college football, so it's kind of neat to be overlooking it as we talk. So real quick, I know I'm standing between you and one more panel and then food, so I'll go quickly. Who is New Star? New Star helps grow and guard our clients' businesses by connecting people, places, and things with solutions in marketing, risk, security, and domain name registries. So we have 3 core lines of business. In addition to our registry offerings, we have what we call our analytics platform, so we do some marketing and fraud and compliance. We also have an authentication platform in addition to our addressing solutions, so security, DNS, and domain name registries. So today I'll just talk briefly about our registry operations. And we have two types of registry solutions that we provide. We manage our own, what we call franchise TLDs. So you heard .co mentioned a few times in our previous presentation. We manage that. We also have .us, .biz, and .nyc. And we also run .sydney and .melbourne. What I do specifically for New Star, though, is I manage our portfolio of what we call our managed TLDs. So that's comprised of our generic TLDs, also many mentions in the last presentation, but also the brands. So we have 137 total brands on our platform right now. Some of our clients are in this room, and we appreciate that partnership. But we also have 128 generic top-level domains as well, so .club, .buzz, those are some examples. So altogether, we manage around 265 top-level domains. And some of our brands, Ford, Nike, Target, Chase, again, NBA, NFL, Fox, Cisco. I think I met someone from Cisco last night, and multiple others. State Farm is another one. I think my colleague Christy rode with our State Farm rep over on the plane ride in from Louisville. So what do we do? How do we partner with Mark Monitor? Well, Mark Monitor handles the registration side of it, and we manage the technical back end. I know I was getting some questions out in the sponsor area about kind of what we do and how we fit into the equation. We've had a long partnership, successful partnership with Mark Monitor, and we look forward to continuing that. And so much so that we have our own brand. We also acquired .newstar, and we entrust all our naming for our own TLD, our New Star TLD with Mark Monitor as well. So real quick, again, please come visit us out in the sponsor area. I'd love to talk to you more about what we do at New Star. And for those of you that have your brand TLDs, we partner with all our brands to help them understand kind of the domain name landscape, how they can use their TLDs, help devise some use cases and come up with some strategies. Or for those brands that may be interested in acquiring their TLD in this supposed next round, we're all wondering when that might be. Please also come talk to me. We can help you there as well. So with that, without further ado, let me bring to they're already on the stage. Let me introduce Ricard Bandebo and Oleg Polishuk, and they're going to talk to you about getting smarter with our brand and content connection protection efforts. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Jason. I'm going to try to walk around a bit. I appreciate that Oleg and I are the ones between you and lunch, so we're going to keep it tight and make sure, particularly those of you coming from East, you're probably quite starving by now. So let's get to the punchline. Several years ago, a number of our customers came to us with a frustration around the brand protection industry. They felt that the way that this industry was approaching the problem wasn't right. I think Chris had a great analogy earlier before with a beautiful picture of this whack-a-mole. And that really was the way that most of us were looking at the problem, right? Oh, we found a bad listing. We found a bad site. Let's go take it down. It was literally whack, 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 whack. And as soon as one came down, another one came up, right? I think we all know that game. So when they were sharing this with us, they were sharing with us that the problem with this approach is that A, we can't possibly hit all of these molds, right? And B, not all of these threats are equal. And that's key, right? So that fraudulent listing that appears against your product name, number 2 on, let's say, Amazon, is probably about 1 million times more harmful, and I'm not exaggerating, than a similar listing that appears on page 50 of Craigslist. And that aspect, which we call visibility, wasn't really coming across in the way we were tackling the problem or the way we were prioritizing how we address that, how we address it. So this idea of visibility was key. And we went back to the drawing board. We spent a lot of time speaking to some of the smartest people, most of them on the customer side, but we have a lot of smart people internally too, to really understand what can we do about this problem? How can we approach it in a smarter way? So we realized we need to build our process from the bottom up to be able to do this really, really well. So we built a new platform. We spent years and millions of dollars to build a capability so that we could really then see the problem in the right way, right? So that we could, what we call almost through a consumer's eyes, we call it the consumer-centric approach. And most of you have probably heard that phrase, right? Over the last few years as we've been really tackling it in this way. And the key with that is that we've built this capability where we can geolocate and ensure that we are seeing what Andy, who's sitting over in Hong Kong, sees when they're trying to look for your brand or product online, or what Amy may be seeing in Boise when she's looking for it on different sites or different social media. So the idea of being able to harvest geographically, that concept of being able to also do things that our customers do, right? Like filter or sort by most popular or by price. And being able to capture all of that in a way and get the key contextual information, such as the listing rank and other information, so that we can really tackle the problem the right way. And so that we've been doing. And so now all of our brand protection customers have really been benefiting from this approach. And our analyst teams and our CSMs have been working hard to ensure that the way we're now tackling this problem for our customers really is in this way, where we are really going after the most visible, the biggest threats first, and treating those with the highest priority. But one thing that started to come to light from both of our service team and from our customers was that we've changed the approach. We're seeing great results from this, but the way we're sharing the insights with our customers, we're still doing it the old way, right? We're providing you with, how many fraudulent listings or infringing listings are we finding this month? And how many have we taken action to enforce against? And what's been the compliance rate of that? And that's really missing in providing that information. It's useful and it shows you the activity we're doing, but it's missing the point of being able to show you how clean your brands and products are out there in the world. And that was kind of key. So what we did then is we decided to build up a stronger capability in being able to create better analytics and insights. So we brought on Oleg here, we brought several other team members, we've got Mandeep at the back, some of you may be familiar with them, and wanted to go back and think about how we do this, and what are some of the questions today with the way that we're providing insights to you that we're not really addressing well. Like, what is the likelihood of a well-intentioned customer who's trying to go and buy one of our products online, what's the likelihood of them ending up buying a counterfeit, And really, what's the harm of that, right? Not just the loss of revenue, but also that could be that consumer has a bad or even a dangerous experience that obviously can come back and harm them and harm the reputation of the different brands and products we're trying to protect. So we've been now spending quite a bit of time rethinking how we can provide these insights to you. We'll be talking about it now, and we'll be talking about it again a little bit tomorrow too. We have a separate session which will go a little bit deeper. But I thought what we'd do is to begin sharing with you then some of the views that we're starting to put together in a pilot program that we're running now with several customers, and obviously looking to recruit more customers who might be interested in participating. So one of the first things to think about is, let's just think about a marketplace, right? How do we have a good feeling about what is the likelihood of consumer going to this X marketplace and ending up buying something they shouldn't, right? So to do that, again, we're relooking at the problem. I'm actually going to start on the left-hand side here, and you'll notice that we're not just looking at the most far right-hand bar here, which is like, oh, of the listings we found, how many were fraudulent? We're actually breaking that down into what's the probability here of them finding a fraudulent listing ranked 1 to 5 on that site? Or what's the probability in 5 to 10 or 10 to 50? Because again, to that point I made earlier, if number 2 is a bad listing, that's much, much more harmful, right, than if a listing is ranked number 500 or number 600 or whatever it may be. So building that into the way that we evaluate the cleanliness of a marketplace, or we'll look at other sites as well, but this example here is a marketplace, is key. And the other component to look at too is the fact that not all places, whether they're marketplaces, social media, or website, not all the search engines have the same ability for you to be as clean on them as others, right? Some of them are harder for various reasons to be clean on. So being able to also see how you compare with others is key, because that gives you a sense of what is our opportunity to improve our cleanliness or our brand protection on this particular site. So again, this is just an example of one site, but it's just the type of insight that we're really trying to be able to pull out so that you can have a better understanding of the impact you're having, and also the risks that your business has to whether it's counterfeits or gray market or safety concerns. On the next slide, you see is our first move towards what we call prescriptive analytics. And we'll talk more about this tomorrow. But the concept here is, like, great, you've told me what the situation is. Now, what do I do, right? And this is something that helps you think about then, in this case, a number of different marketplaces and how you should think about prioritizing them, right? So on the bottom axis here, on the x-axis, we have how popular is that site? How many eyeballs go to one marketplace versus another in this case? And then on the y-axis, on the side axis, it is, well, how clean are we compared to what we see amongst other companies, right? So that comparative view of how clean are we compared to what's in the realms of what we see being possible on that site. And by then plotting the different marketplaces on this, it helps you think about, well, how should we, whether it's our analysts or people on your team, think about where we want to spend our time, right? And so there's a nice little descriptive guide here of the boxes here on the right-hand on the side. But the key thing is this bottom left-hand box or right-hand box here, the red one, those are very popular sites where clearly you have an opportunity to clean them up more, right? And whereas on the upper left-hand side, those are blue. Those are sites where you are super clean, but guess what? Not a lot of people are going there. So as you think about where you're focusing your efforts and keep on changing and making sure you're having the best impact, this type of view, it's very simplistic, right? But it is the first, as I said, a step to be predictive and prescriptive and help you take action, starts giving you a good sense of how you can change your approach to have the biggest impact on these threats. So not only do we want to try to help you understand, which places are more of a risk than others and which places can you do more things about, but also there's very likely, and we see this, and it's true, that there'll be differences in your products or brands as well. So here you see we look at each of your keywords. We will actually link this to products. Some of you tag them already to products, some of you don't. But the concept here is, if you think about your product or your brand, the keyword is a good proxy for that, right? So if we look at your scans, your keyword scans here, we're giving you a little bit of a trend here to see how clean versus dirty they're trending over time. So you can see over time what that impact is being. And B, it can help you think about, whoa, let me have a look at these dirtier brands or keywords, and let's see what's going on there. And so the key thing is really helping you, again, focus on whether it's which channel, whether it's social media, which marketplace is causing the most trouble, or even which products. So that's really, really, really the gist of what we're trying to enable, is that smarter ability to change the actions that you take and to also understand the impact of the work that you're doing as well. So we'll touch more on this as we go through tomorrow as well. But I want to hand over to Oleg, who's the brains behind the operation, along with Mandeep and the others, but much more the brains than I am, to talk a little bit about, well, how do we get around to this? How do we start really better understanding how we weight one listing more than another, given some of the factors that I touched on before?
Thank you. So let's go to the next slide and spend just a minute discussing methodology. As we already heard today, I think several times, not every single listing is born equal. And those listings that appear at the top of the search page end up being actually followed, end up being clicked upon more likely than those that appear closer to the bottom of the page. So I don't know if you can see this chart somewhere farther, but generally speaking, what you see here is the line drops precipitously down and then approaches zero. This is basically the graph that describes the probability of people hitting the listing. And if you again look at it closely, first 10 listings, top 10 listings, pretty much collect 80% probability of people following the link. So if you are below 10, chances of people actually following the link are very small. So we realized that, and we decided that our metric, we call it brand protection score, should absolutely reflect this fact that not every single listing is born equal. I'll just give you a second to orient yourself on this busy page. But in essence, there are, as you can see, there are 3 components that are truly important for us when we calculate the brand protection score that we end up using in the pilot report. First, whether the marketplace actually is visited, whether it's a popular marketplace. 2 is what I already mentioned earlier, the position of a listing on a marketplace page. We use some math to transform this position into basically a probability using probability density function. And in the end, we merge this information to arrive at the brand protection score, which basically combines the marketplace, traffic volume, the position of a good as well as bad listing on the marketplace page. And the final metric is really just a share of good listings that are presented in the most visible places on the web. And that's, in essence, how the methodology works. If there are any questions about this particular bit of presentation, I can take them now or later after the presentation. And the report itself, as it stands right now in its pilot version, has 4 different sections. The first section, obviously, is the executive summary, where we bring to light all the interesting facts we found during the analysis, key insights, overall score for the company, overall brand protection score for the company, as well as insights about most popular sites, those that are scoring really well in terms of market cleanliness, and those that are not, and therefore are, supposed to be reviewed and cleansed. You already saw a couple of views presented by Ricard. Those are the places where we actually discuss marketplace by marketplace. We spend some time actually going deeper and showing you how the brand protection score for a particular marketplace changes over time. I think for the time being, we can track it starting from February, I believe, this year. You've seen already 4 box grids where we actually try to bring together market popularity and market cleanliness, and actually inform your decisions about those marketplaces. What you should do. Should you invest more in them or disinvest? And obviously, we focus on scans as well. And in addition to the visual you've seen already, we actually offer more in-depth analysis of scan by scan on per each marketplace. So it's a rather interesting approach. It's a rather deep kind of analysis, and it's a work in progress too. And the reason we decided to present to you today is, first of all, to alert you to the fact that this is in development, and second, to invite you to participate either with advice or, as a pilot, basically allowing us to use your data to create reports that we can present back to you. That's all we have, and
I told you we'd keep it short. Hopefully it was insightful. So the key thing is we wanted to give you a sneak peek into where we're going. We definitely want those of you who are interested in this, please reach out to anyone here or ourselves, and we can arrange that. Because we're looking to get as much feedback as possible so that we build this in a way that it's going to be as productive and helpful to you, clearly. So yeah, sneak peek. Anybody is interested in being a pilot, just reach out to us. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the concepts tomorrow. In the meantime, I hope you are getting excited about sort of the future, about where we're going and what the future of brand protection could really look like. So with that, I think it's time for the break.
Is this working? Yeah. My name is Brad Muller. I'm the Vice President of North American Sales, newly minted. I've been with the company about 8 years now. I know a lot of you, and thank you very much for coming out to visit with us today. We're supposed to talk about something interesting about ourselves. I was trying to think of something that might be relevant, but it's difficult. I will say this. When I was a kid growing up in Los Angeles, I had the cool, I guess, it was just a cool thing that I lived next door to Barbara Eden. I Dream of Jeannie. And my brother and I were best friends with her son, Matt, and so I used to have Barbara Eden make me pancakes when I was a kid. It was kind of cool, so. So I'm actually the final person between you and having lunch, but I want a couple quick reminders. So first of all, at the table in back, please stop in if you need help with the push notification capabilities for the registration desk. It's really important you do that so that we can get good survey results to improve these events year after year. Also, please take advantage of the breaks and lunch to visit all of our amazing sponsors. It's important you go by those tables. You've got to get their signatures or stamps so you can enter it in the drawings. So that's really important. And once again, Radix, I apologize if I'm butchering the name. Notice I didn't pronounce the Z. But they're here as well, and they're only here today, so if you need their signature tomorrow, you'll miss on that. Last but not least, the lunch is in the back of the room, so there's a buffet. Please grab your food and items and bring them back here to the tables and enjoy your lunch here, and then there'll be desserts and drinks here at the back of the room. So thank you very much, and go enjoy lunch.